Why not?
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, this is as good as it's going to get today, I'm afraid. Hi, everybody. I'm having a day. And it's early yet, but I'm having a day. I'm still waiting for paint to dry, so bear with me for a second here. You know, it never rains, it pours. I hope everybody's having a great Saturday today. I thought we'd have some fun today with some mixed media. Just wing it, basically, although there is a pattern for this. I'm going to show you some fun techniques that are really, really easy to create a really interesting background. And I also have a technique for creating a butterfly for this, a three-dimensional butterfly for this piece that I want to show you. We're going to use a wooden one, and then I'm going to show you how to make one. So it's a really fun technique, and it's surprisingly very easy to do. So that is our plan for today. But before we get to it, I have to say hello to a few people. Is it Deanna Swindlehurst? She's on the wet coast of BC. I heard you guys are getting some nasty weather. And Denise Chavez, am I watching paint dry? It's a story of my life, babe. And Marianne Cohen's, happy Saturday to you too. She's from Indiana. And Karen Jones, hello, lovey. And Brenda Owen and Cindy Nezazon. I know I'm messing that up, but I'm sorry, sweetheart. And Carol Mays, hi, Carol. Oh my goodness, everybody's here today. And Kathleen Januszewski. I know I probably messed that up, but thanks for joining us today. We got a bunch of new people, new faces, and new names that have been popping up lately, which is really nice to see. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you with us. And there's Peggy Blazer from Arkansas. And Ann Easterling. Hi, everybody. And there's Lynn. I said it perfectly? Oh, good. Cindy, that's a good one. You know, I didn't get my tang tangled that time. And Sky Matthews, hello, sweetheart. Oh, it's nice to see everybody here. And Liz Menardo, hello, lovey. Liz is a friend from Toronto. She had me stay in her beautiful home. She was so much fun. Her and her husband were just wonderful company. We had a great time that weekend. And there's my girl, Linda Safranco. Oh, my heavens, everybody's here today. We are going to be playing with Decwarts Media Fluid Acrylics. I know that they're not that easy to find. They do have them on the Decwart website, but as far as retail goes, they are not that easy to find. Hopefully they will be soon, but we shall see. But we're going to play with those. The nice thing about the Decwart Fluid Acrylics, aside from their usability and the colors and the flexibility of them, is that it's very easy to find other colors or other paints that will come very close. So it does make them very versatile. So I have included a list of colors from the Americanas in the pattern so that if you don't have fluid acrylics, the Americana colors are in there as well. So you'll be able to convert from one paint line to another. Liz Menardo, I think of you every time I make stuffed peppers. Her peppers are so good. So, so good. Just delicious. So we are going to be playing with fluid acrylics. We're going to incorporate some stamps and some stencils and probably have a few laughs. There's no doubt about that. And before we do any of that, let's talk about the giveaways. So we have Happy Mail for 3 people. It's going out today. So 3 of you who have interacted with this video, whether you've said hello in the chat, or if you've left us a comment, or if you have liked and shared, or even subscribed to the channel, your name goes on the wheel. And at the end of today's live, we spin the wheel and we pull 3 names, and those 3 people receive some Happy Mail. And in today's Happy Mail, we have a wonderful kit for you. And of course, we always have other things in there too, but the kit includes the pattern and the special stencils that go with it for a pattern called Towards the Light. So we have a really nice one. Of course, we put some other goodies in there too. So that is our giveaway for today. And in the meantime, I think we should start on our mixed media piece. This one is called Mixed Media Mums. And if you are ready to get started, so am I. How is Renee? Renee's doing pretty good, actually. He has an upcoming appointment with a specialist, so they'll be, oh my goodness, somebody from Greece. Renee is doing pretty well. They're still going to be doing some testing and whatnot. He still cannot drive, and he still can't. He still sees double in to one side, and he has a few vision issues with that. But aside from that, he's taking it in stride. He's doing very well. What's for dinner tonight? Last night we had honey garlic wings. I made my own honey garlic. It was a recipe I've been wanting to try for a while, and I bought 2 pounds of fresh garlic and peeled it all and packed it in with some organic natural honey. And it's been sitting in a big old mason jar for about the last 8 to 10 weeks. And I used that honey to make my wings, and oh my stars, they were so good. So yes, we had the honey garlic wings with rice and a stir fry last night. It was very, very good. Tonight we are having Greek. So we are having lemon rice with marinated pork souvlaki. That's what we are having tonight. And then I'm making a Greek salad. So should be good. I make my marinade from scratch. It's absolutely delicious. Of course, I got my marinade recipe from a lovely friend from the Greek islands. So it works beautifully. She just happens to be a chef in a Greek restaurant. So I know it's really good. Donna Baker. Do I seal it the same way as if it would? Yes, 1 or 2 coats. I usually hit it with 1 or 2 coats of light matte spray, just light coats of matte spray. And then I will apply a coat of my favorite varnish, which is Decoart's Ultra Matte. I love that. I love the finish of it. Do y'all ever have leftovers? Sometimes. Oh, Jessica, pork souvlaki. It's absolutely delicious. It's made with garlic and fresh lemon juice and lots of oregano and a little bit of sage. And you put all of that. Of course, there's olive oil in it. You put pierce your pork a little bit and then soak it. I let it sit in that overnight, and then it gets grilled on a really hot grill. So it gets cooked very quickly on a really hot grill. So it's like just pink in the center, and then serve that with lemon rice, which is delicious. I love to cook. Karen Jones knows how much I love to cook. She's eaten at our table on numerous occasions. When using matte varnish, why does it have a shine after a couple of coats? Generally, if you're starting to see some kind of a sheen with a matte varnish, then it needs a really good stir. I keep a marble, or preferably a marble, something that's inert like glass, and put it in the bottom of your bottle of matte varnish, and then just move it back and forth. Let me show you. So if you put a marble into a bottle like this, you don't want to shake it, because then you get air bubbles in your varnish, and then it has to sit for a long period of time before you can use it. The problem with that is that everything you just did with the marble becomes undone. So I put the marble in, and then you just roll it back and forth like this. And then turn the bottle over and do it the same way. The reason that you do it that way is there are flattening agents. There is like a chemical that settles in the bottom of the bottle. Those flattening agents are what make matte varnish matte. So if you're starting to get a sheen of some sort after 1 or 2 coats, it means that those matting agents or flattening agents are starting to separate from the varnish. So just give it a gentle toss like this with the marble in it, and it will help emulsify those particles, those flattening agents, into the varnish itself. I don't ever advise shaking your varnish, because then it just fills it full of bubbles, and that causes more problems than it solves. Husband is getting sloppy joes. Sloppy joes are good. My guys would probably beg for those. Janet, good. You have to stay busy. It's winter in Canada. You got to stay busy. This is finally dry. Good heavens. So I have an 8x8 art panel. I love working on these wooden art panels for mixed media. You can use the MDF panels. You can buy the wooden ones. You can even do this in your journal. It works really well in a journal as well because we're not technically gluing a bunch of stuff to this, so it works really, really well. I like a nice stable surface for this. And to this surface, I have added 2 coats of warm white. You could use gesso or chalky finish paint. You could use whatever you like. It just needs to be a warm white finish. It doesn't have to be perfect. So just a nice warm white will work just fine. So our first step is to start adding some interest to the background for this piece. So we're going to use, I have a collection of stamps. And they're from all sorts of places. Now, I don't buy necessarily from one manufacturer because there's very few that are readily available everywhere. So dollar stores have them. Hello. Got to have something with butterflies or bugs. I have a thing for bugs and butterflies. Always have. So I chose a little butterfly stamp out of this batch, which was this one down here. There's all kinds of fun bugs in this one. A script stamp of some sort is always handy. Again, this one was from Stampendous, but they're out of business, unfortunately. But these are just dollar store stamps, which is handy. And then you're going to need a Stays-On stamp pad, whether it could be black or brown, it doesn't matter. I like cancellation stamps, and I like something different types of script. Doesn't ever have to be legible. So we've got this as well. And what else do we have? Let me see. Oh, got to have a cancellation stamp. Definitely have to have a cancellation stamp. So once you have some of those, we also want to have, let's see, what else do we want here? We also have to have some lettering stamps. Now, these are one of my favorites. I like these because they're about, 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch in height. They're not too big. Just not spiders. No, I don't like spiders. About 1/2 inch in size. So they can be any kind. You can get them almost anywhere. I got these ones at Michael's. I think I got these at Hobby Lobby. These little ones here, these are always handy. And then I found these ones on Amazon. This is a nice set of letters. It's got everything in it. Letters, numbers, lowercase, uppercase, plus punctuation, which is nice too. So just find a fairly generic set of alphabet stamps. Now we're going to use, I'm using a timber brown, and I'm going to use some, this is a script stamp. Now I like to stamp off the page, whatever I'm doing. I don't want it to be necessarily perfect. In fact, I'd rather it isn't. And what we're creating with the stamps is all of this interest in the background. You can see we've got a variety of script, little bit of textures, butterflies, cancellation stamps. So we don't need to go overboard with it.
Who's at the door?
Yeah.
Oh, just delivery.
Oh, okay. I tried killing a spider with glitter spray once, and now she keeps stripping and makes me call her Cinnamon. Oh my God, Kay. Uh, I hang out with some questionable people. Oh, my stars, you're too funny. So again, I'm using, I like this. I like these, irregularities. We are not looking for perfect. Goodness. Good morning. Garrett. There's Deb Daniker. Hello, sweetie. Our Miss Sandy is under the weather. So we're all a little concerned for Miss Sandy. She's got the flu. They've confirmed it. She has the flu. And I chatted with her briefly this morning, and she's really not feeling well, the poor dear. So if you get a chance, guys, pop over to Sandy's Facebook page to her, and send her some well wishes. I think she's feeling a little bit of cabin fever. Sandy's not happy unless she's doing Mach 5 with her hair on fire. So for her to be laid up in bed is just not the thing. So the poor dear is not well. So here's hoping that she gets better quick. I had the flu a few years ago, like the real flu. I had H1N1. And I thought that COVID was bad, but it still wasn't as bad as the flu. So, and I was sick with COVID. But poor Sandy, she's just not feeling well at all. And the flu is terrible this year. So, yeah, I'm putting a little bit of this in there. And I'm going to use... I have to have a cancellation stamp in everything I do. It's just a thing with me. Don't ask me why. I can't explain it. Yeah, Sandy is not feeling well at all, the poor thing. Breaks my heart. So I have to stick a butterfly in here someplace. And I want one right about there. The fun part is you don't really have to fill up everything. But it is fun to stick stamps all over the place. I love this. Anytime I get to play with stamps and stencils, I'm a happy camper. Let's see, what else can we do? What other stamp have I got here? I know I've got lots. Ooh, this is a good one. I like this one. It's creating a fun and interesting background to put other things on. I mean, if you didn't want a stamp, or if you don't have stamps, you could always grab a piece of old wrapping paper or tissue paper with a pattern already stamped into it. You could use an old letter or old sheet music. I mean, you can do whatever your heart desires. There are no real rules. Oh, well, that's interesting. It's almost like I missed. So let's put a butterfly in there. There we go. So for me, this is enough. There's a lot in there, but it's enough. So I'm going to put the stamps back in their home. I love stamps. And I'll close up my stamp pad for now. And I'm going to keep my alphabet stamp handy and my stamp pad handy, but the rest can go back to its home. Now, we're going to dry this really, really well. Yes, you could use a bee. Absolutely. There's Linda Grass. Hello, sweetie. Do I clean off my stamps? Mine usually get a wipe down about once a month. I'll take a little hand sanitizer to them or a little brush cleaner and clean them off. But I'll be honest, I'm not a scrapbooker or a paper crafter. Mine are only used for mixed media, so I'm perhaps not as diligent as I should be when it comes to cleaning them. But they do get a wipe down once a month, and I do pretty much do the same with brushes and stencil brushes. They get rinsed, and then once a month I sit down and bath everything. So, yeah, I am not as diligent as I should be. Am I going to net this year? No, unfortunately, I won't be. Travel for us Canadians is extremely difficult right now. Where do I get my cancellation stamps? Honestly, I have found a lot of them at dollar stores. I have found quite a few of them on Amazon. I've even found some on Temu, so it's, wherever. Dollar stores are great resources for simple stamps. They're not top of the line, but they work just fine for this type of application. I also have a serious collection of the iron orchid stamps. I mean, I have a serious collection of them. And I have a lot of cancellation stamps from them too. So it can run you into bucks. But as I said, you can find these almost anywhere. And there's so many different types. They don't necessarily have to be round. This is another favorite of mine is this one. This one is also a cancellation stamp. And but it's oval and it's unique, but I mean whatever you want to use. But I probably have like 50 of them. So I love them. Oh, don't tell me that Deb Daniker and Robin Storm both have the flu. Oh, goodness. I hope not. Good heavens. So we have nicely finished. Nice, 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 nice. I like that we've got layers. I like that there's some dark, some light, some, I like the irregularities that this produces. Oh, absolutely. Tim Holtz stamps are amazing. And I have a rather substantial collection of those too. I do love my stamps, and I do love my Tim Holtz stamps and my Iron Orchid stamps and my dollar store stamps. I have far too many stamps. So now that we have this, we're going to apply a color palette, and this is what we're going to be using. I have a little bit of cobalt blue. I have cobalt teal hue. Here, put them where you can see them. And then I have quinacridone magenta, and I have primary magenta. I'm going to use primary because that's my fave. And I have a diarylide yellow. And I have a green gold. Love this color. And I have a dioxazine purple. So these are the colors that we're going to use for this background. The other thing we need is a flat wash brush, something soft. And in this case, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch angled shader. And you can use either a little bit of Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze, or you can use water. Entirely up to you. So I'm going to load my palette. A little bit of green. Oh my goodness. Get the bottle open. There we go. A little bit of green gold. Dioxazine purple. The fluid acrylics dioxazine looks black when it comes out of the bottle. But I'll warn you now, it is extremely highly pigmented, so don't freak when you put it on your surface, because it is a very strong color. Cobalt blue hue. I love this color. It is so pretty. Comes out of the bottle almost looking like ultramarine, almost. Again, it has a very high pigment load, so it looks much darker. And then we've got saffron, or saffron yellow, diarylide yellow. I love this one. I think it's my favorite yellow in the fluid acrylics. And then cobalt teal hue. I love this color. Cobalt teal hue is my fave. So in the pattern, there is a list of colors in the Americana that you can use instead of the fluid acrylics. And those would be Margarita, Dioxazine Purple, Prussian Blue, Tuscan Red, and then you'll need Bahama Blue and Saffron Yellow. Those are really bright, the really intense colors in the Americana. So to develop this background, this is what we need to do. We're going to start with a little bit of that cobalt blue in the upper left corner. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of Joe Sonia's and a little bit of my cobalt teal blue, and we're just going to slip slap a little of that color into that upper corner, just like that. Neatness doesn't count. And then the next color we're going to pick up is that green gold. I love this color. And we're going to slip slap that as well. And then we're going to just meet the blue. Just join them so they slightly overlap. I love this color. Oh my goodness. Just like so. And then into that saffron yellow. Oh, love saffron yellow. This is an intense yellow. In fluid acrylics, it's diarylide. And again, we're just going to slip slap a little of that on there. You can see what I mean by intense. It's a very vibrant yellow. And now down here, we're going to use a little bit of that cobalt blue. It's such a yummy blue. And then I'm going to slip slap that until it overlaps that yellow. It's going to make a green. There we are. Again, it's a slip slap. Neatness doesn't count for this. And next, we're going to dip into that dioxazine purple. I love diox purple. But again, much like the saffron, it's a really intense color. So you're going to bring a little of that in till it blends with that blue. Look at that. And then finally, we're going to use that primary magenta. I love primary magenta. Look at that. I know it looks like a dog's breakfast, but we're going to make it do some really cool things. Now, I'm going to just lightly mist this bit. Just a little. I just want to soften those colors a little bit. So I'm going to rinse out my brush. And then I'm just going to softly blend these colors, just a little. I got a little heavy-handed. Surprise, surprise. There we go. Now they're starting to... There we go. The nice thing is that you can play with these a little bit. So I'm going to dry this. I love these colors. The color, this is one of the things that I absolutely love about the fluid acrylics is that the colors, the pigmentation is insane. And you can play with these quite a bit. So this one is very wet. So I'm going to set this aside to dry. And we're going to talk a little bit about our butterfly. Now, in this one, I have a wooden butterfly, and it's just simply painted to match the color scheme, essentially. But I wanted to give you a chance to see this technique. So what I did here was I printed out in black and white a monarch butterfly. It was just a simple black and white outline of a monarch butterfly. I kept it very simple. I then, believe it or not, used Posca pens to paint in the yellow and then the orange, and then blended the two together with the yellow so that I got that orange, that bright orangey tone in there. And then I went over the darkest areas of the butterfly with a black Posca pen, and then I added the white details with a white Posca pen. Now this is just done on cardstock. I just printed it out on cardstock and I cut it out. Now I also have a little bit of, this is matte medium. This is from Demco. If you're Canadian, you'll know who this is. This is Demco out of Montreal. I love their matte medium. It's just awesome. But Deckwart makes a brilliant matte medium as well. And if you can't either of those, then matte Mod Podge or matte decoupage will work just fine. So once you have this painted and it's dry, you're going to apply a coat of matte medium to the top of the butterfly. Neatness does not count for this. Don't worry about being perfect. It doesn't matter. So then I'm going to dry my butterfly, and you're going to do this about 3 to 4 times. I love Posca pens. They are a really handy tool. It is acrylic paint. They are water-based, so that they will work with your Americanas quite beautifully, I might add. So I have one side dry, and then I'm going to apply a coat to the back of my butterfly. And I'm going to repeat this twice. Essentially what I'm doing is stabilizing this cardstock. I'm just making it a little stiffer. So make sure you do it to the body as well. And this is so much fun. So let's put one more coat. Nice thing is this stuff dries really quick. So my butterfly is almost stable. There we are. There's something I've really enjoyed about doing this type of thing is, ta-da! I'm going to put a coat of Galaxy varnish on it. If I can get it out of the bottle. There we go. Got a little bit. So I'm going to use a little bit of Galaxy varnish on my butterfly. I love this stuff. Now there's another product that Deckwart makes. It's an iridescent varnish. Also fabulous for this type of thing. it puts an iridescent coat over top of whatever you've painted, and then it creates a beautiful effect. And Norma Luther, hello, sweetie. Nice to have you with us. Kathy needs to purge her extra rubber stamps and her paper stash, but it's so hard. Oh, tell me about it. To let some of that stuff go is difficult. So, my butterfly is dry. So, look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's got a little bit of sparkle, but now it's a little stiffer. So, I can fold it on either side of the body like so. And then we're going to use the handle of a brush like this. And I'm going to roll the tips of the wings like that. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, just a little bit on those lower winglets. So now we have a very dimensional butterfly. So you can then adhere it to your finished piece, like so. And then you can use a dollop of glue to adhere it, the tips of the wings to the surface, or not. But either way, that little stiffened butterfly adds a really beautiful dimension to your surface. So it's an interesting option and it's fun to do. But I really love that little extra dimension that three-dimensional butterfly brings to the surface. So if you wanted to glue the tips down, you just put a little drop of glue on the tip of each wing so that it sticks to the surface and it just maintains that dimensional look. But how pretty is that? Now there are tons of other options available. They do have butterflies made out of feathers if you're not feeling particularly crafty, or if it's something that you really struggle with, you could always use a dimensional butterfly of another type. They work just fine. But I really have always loved this more delicate look of the paper butterfly. And I love the shadows it casts on these things. But it's super simple to do, and all you need is a little bit of cardstock and some Mod Podge or some decoupage medium or matte medium and a little bit of varnish. And the glitter is totally optional. But what a pretty way to finish this piece, to tuck that little dimensional butterfly on. So I'm going to set that little guy aside. And I believe our piece is dry enough that we can continue to work. If not, we'll speed it up. Oh, it's almost there. So I will dry this real quick. We only have a little bit left to do for this background, which is not that much. Yes, you could absolutely paint the backside as well. So I'm just got a couple of spots that are still wet, and I'll dry those, and we'll tackle the next stage of this. Oh, the crap. I get a kick out of the tea wife, Kathy McAllister. I adore that girl. She's amazing, so incredibly talented. She's so funny. She had a birthday this week too. It's her birthday week. So let's wish her a happy birthday. So this is dry enough that we can continue. So I'm going to cheat. Hi, Bonnie. So we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to use the stamp pad. And I'm going to rub the edges like so and darken those corners because it's me and I love a dark corner. I love the aged edges. And it's so easy to do with a stamp pad. I mean, you could do it with a brush too. If you wanted to do that chip paint look, you could. Oh, you're feeling older? Oh, goodness. Well, join the club, lovey. Yeah, I've hit that stage in my life when I drop something, I try to think of something else to do while I'm down there because I'm going to be there a while. So, oh, by the way, this technique works beautifully on greeting cards or on almost anything, really. So you can have a lot of fun with it. So I aged my edges just with that little stamp pad. I love that look. And you can make it patchy looking. You can make it wider if you like. The more of the stamp pad surface you put on, the more you're going to get that aged look. And I repeat this several times through this because it's me and I like doing it. So the next color we're going to use is going to shock everybody, I know. We're using some asphaltum. And we're going to use just a wash of it. Quite literally a wash. We're going to thin it out quite a bit. And we're just going to apply a nice light wash of that color over top of the background. And I have thinned it dramatically, and I'm just using water for this. The other thing I like is that when I was applying my base, my white, I left the brush marks in because I like brush marks. I also like that sort of distressed look that it lends to things. So there I've got one coat of just a light wash of Americana, asphaltum. Asphaltum is that color that just tones things for me, and I love that. So make sure it's dry before we do the next step. Otherwise, we're just taking off color. And I'm going to take a nice wide float of asphaltum and go all the way around the outside edge. Nice wide float. We're not looking for perfection. I'm just looking to age the edges a bit more. I love a dark corner, so I have a tendency to really work color into the corners because I love that look. I want the light towards the center. Have a great weekend, Jess. Here we go. I like doing things in thin layers. It makes it easier to control. I've always found that if you just hammer on an antique coat, you don't have any control over it. And I like the depth that this creates. So I'm going to, oh, I love this color. There we go. I like that little bit of, I don't want to call it grime. I like the age that this gives. It's not necessarily dirty, but aged. So there we go. We've got, oh, I like that. I like how the colors meld. And the other thing I like is that it never comes out exactly the same way twice. There we go. Oof, nice and dry. There we go. I love that look. So at this point, oh, I got glitter in it. At this point, you're ready to transfer your design to the surface. So then you're going to just tape this in place. I'm a fan. I like my painter's tape. Somebody watched a video on how to get up off the floor. You better send that to me. Now, the design actually is a vase full of spider mums. I love spider mums. I just think they're so interesting. But they are difficult to paint, or so I thought, until I sat down and figured out how to paint them. And it's not as difficult as I had feared. But a lot of fun to do. And we have a straight line, the horizon that goes across this. This is the tabletop. It doesn't have to go all the way across. But I do like anything like this should be done nice and straight. There we go. Close enough. And then I'm going to trace all of the petals. And this is perhaps the most time-consuming part of this, is tracing all of these little petals. Oops. But it is a lot of fun to do this piece. So take the time to make sure you get all of the petals, because otherwise you're going to have a funny looking flower. Now, when I'm tracing, I like my red gel pen for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it's nice and fine, and I can see where I've been, so it helps eliminate missing spots in a pattern. The other thing is that because it's nice and fine, you don't get these, heavy, thick graphite lines on your piece, which drives me bananas. I hate heavy graphite lines. Where is Patrick today? Well, hopefully Patrick is feeling better. Our friend Patrick is had a back problem from sitting too long in the car. So hopefully he's feeling a bit more the thing, and that his back has decided to give him some relief. Mm-hmm. Good heavens, where am I? There's Janice. Janice. Haven't seen Lucy either. Hopefully that flu is taking people down left and right, so hopefully everybody's okay. I'm sadly watching the flu numbers creep up around here, and I'm hiding. I have been sick enough in the last 2 years. I do not need the flu. So I am taking every available precaution. don't I do not want the flu. I got my flu shot, but from what I hear, that is going around right now. So I am avoiding contact with the general public as much as possible. I do not want to get sick. Oh, I know. It has been gray and dreary and snowy, and we've not had the prettiest days in the last little while. And I desperately needed something with a little bit of sunshine in it, so I thought I would paint some bright yellow mums to raise the spirit, so to speak. Oh, my stars. The only downside is that, oh my lord, there's a lot of petals. Kind of made me rethink the wisdom of it, but it's so pretty. How to get up off the floor. I've hit that age where I just don't bounce like I used to. In fact, I don't bounce at all. So the idea of getting down on the floor and then not being able to get up is rather intimidating. So I really should have prepped a bit better for this one, but spider mums, they're so pretty. Ta-da! Almost there. None of us do anymore. Yeah. It's been in the 80s in the Houston area. We were at minus 22 earlier in the week, and today it is plus 10. So it's weather by Sybil. It's, our weather has multiple personality disorder. It's terrible. But this is typical for us. We normally, in the first to second week of January, we'll see a bit of a thaw. And then we have to brace ourselves for February because we usually, that's when we get our biggest storms. And for the last 5 years, we have not really had much snow, comparatively speaking. And then we didn't get our January thaw. It just stayed mild all winter. We didn't get the minus 25 or the minus 30. We didn't get the typical winter for the last 5 years. And I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to get something a bit more typical this year. So I got a feeling we should be bracing ourselves for a fair amount of snow in February. Karen, yeah, that's because you moved. Yeah, so all the snow went to Alberta instead. I miss the snow. I really love... Karen does not like snow. I love snow. I love lots of snow. The more, the better. Okay, guys, I have pretty much... Okay, I think I've got it. Here we go. And if I don't got it, well, then I'll just have to wing it. I am too young to not be able to... You're old as dirt. Well, I'm not pushing up daisies yet, but, So the first thing I'm going to do to this is... why did that suddenly get so dark? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some shading around this because we need to make this a bit more clear. I can see it, but you can't. We've got lots of snow here. Oh, ours is almost gone. So I'm going to take a little bit of asphaltum and I'm going to float around my vase. Right there. I'm just deepening this a little bit. Mainly, and in behind those petals, in behind the flowers a little bit. As I said, mainly just to clarify where everything is. We need a little bit of darker color back there. In and around all of those petals. Here we are. This is a fun piece to paint. It really isn't a difficult one to paint, to be honest. And because you don't really need to worry too much about accuracy, because this is a very loose piece. It's not, although it appears really detailed, it really isn't as detailed as you think it is. So I'm just coming in with a little bit of asphaltum in and around some of the floral just to lift it off the background a little bit. I'm not worrying a whole lot about it though. Oh, that one is standing out quite nicely, so I think it's pretty good. Okay. I think we're golden. So we're going to start with that vase. I want to paint in the vase with a little bit of lamp black. I love my lamp black. I use it a lot. And I'm going to put a little bit of Joe Sonia's in it. La, la, la. I'm just using a small round to base coat this with. So I'm not... There we are. Now this vase, just a Chinese style, or urn style vase. Fairly traditional. Just make sure you leave that space for that little petal there. And across. Again, this is a very simple piece. And none of the painting techniques are really over the top. The screen just went really dark. I don't know why. Let me see if I can improve that. There's nothing blocking the screen. Let me see. I've got a... How's that? I had to get another light. That is so strange. I have these huge overhead lights. They're just great big ones, and for some reason it got really dark. So there we are. And then there is the neck of the vase, which is up underneath some of these petals. So we need to be careful to paint around those petals so that we don't make it harder on ourselves. There we go. Et voilà. There's our, there we go. I'm trying to get this so that we get the best light. Oh. There. I think it's a little bit better. So we're going to use a little bit of, I love this. This is so cool. A little bit of baby duck. There. So I've got baby duck. I'm going to grab, I've got this. This is a liner brush. This is one of the Evo Art brushes. Did I get my shingle shot? I have both of my shingles shots. I got my flu shot and I got my COVID booster. And then, as luck would have it, of course, the flu shot that I got does not protect from the flu that is running right now. So I'm avoiding human contact wherever possible because it is going around here. So I'm using this liner. This is a long script liner, and I'm just stroking in the petals using a little bit of baby duck. And I'm only using one coat. And I'm trying to leave a little bit of space between each of those strokes. So it's not perfect, but it's good enough. So just keep them fine. Don't worry about the graphite lines. Don't worry about any of the details. Just as I said, follow the shape of the petal. If you can, leave a narrow space between each of them. But, don't kill yourself trying to do it. As long as you've got individual strokes showing, you're okay. And I'm just stroking it in, following the shape of the petal. Just like that. You can see it's not perfect. You don't need it to be. Now, these ones down here are going to be a little tricky because they're kind of, some of these petals get tucked in behind some of that stamping, and sometimes it's a little hard to see where your flowers are, but that's okay. Just take your time and don't worry about the minutia. All of those little tiny things. There we go. Now I'm just stroking in petals. Again, I am following the shape of the petal. Oh, how fun are these? Wow. There we are. Okay, that that was fun. There's a lot of little petals that are overlapping in here, so we have to take a little care. Just like that. So it's just stroking those little bits in. And again, I am not really overthinking this. I don't want these flowers to be meticulous. There we go. Look at that. I chose these flowers because I thought they had a really interesting texture and something a little bit out of the ordinary. It's not something that as decorative painters or toll painters that we see often. And I thought it would be a fun project for a mixed media, just because it left us with so many other options. So the nice part is that we've got a whole bunch of petals and the light tucked in back there that you can just tuck them in, make them fit. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. Oop. So you can see that as I pull the strokes, they're all coming back to one location. They're coming back towards the center of the flower. And that gives us a whole bunch of flexibility in here. So back to the center, I've got a petal that goes this way and then one overlapping it that comes back in. And I'm doing all of the outside petals first. And then I'll do the ones that pull in towards the center last. And then we've got this little bud piece in the middle, and that is a series of little comma strokes that just sort of overlap with each other like so. And if you make sure that they follow that curve, you get the shape of the flower. As I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then towards the back here, we've got one flower that's sort of facing away from us. And I want to get those, there we go. So it's going to have a little bit of a challenge getting those in, but that's okay. This is just all in the background here, so we've got a little bit more flexibility. Look at that. So it almost looks like fireworks. Carol, that is dedication. If you were standing outside while the dog does his business in the freezing cold and you haven't put the phone down, that's dedication. So look at that. We've got flowers. Now we've also got a little bit of green gold, which is, I love this color. This green gold is the color we're going to use for these leaves. And again, I'm using the same brush. And I'm just stroking in that stem for the leaves. I'm trying to see where my leaf went. There it is. Okay. There we go. Small leaves. Again, we're not looking for perfection for these leaves. We're just filling in the spaces. And then we've got this little bit at the back of the flower. Little stem. Got leaves tucked in here and there. Okay. I love the fact that mixed media does not require you to, oh goodness. Doing anything with mixed media doesn't require you to be, meticulous. I love the fact that you can just sort of fill shapes in. You don't have to worry about whether or not they're perfect. So we're just filling in the color. We're going to do a little bit of outlining and whatnot anyway. So let's dry this. And then we're going to play a little bit with that background, create a tabletop. Now we have that line there. So we do want to create a tabletop. And we're going to give ourselves some depth with a little bit of that dark blue, that cobalt blue. So I'm going to pick a little of that up with my angled shader. And I'm going to bring a little of that color in right here. And I'm going to bring it up to about there. Just to the top of that curve. And then across the tabletop here. Just above the line. And I'm just going to pity-pat a little of that dark blue in there. And I'm going to dry that. And then I'm going to put one more layer on it because I want it fairly deep. There we go. And it's going to come out 2/3 of the way, I guess. Just like that. So now we've got this nice dark shadow on this side. So now we need a highlight on this side. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that baby duck because we want to carry some of these colors around. So I'm going to bring that baby duck up the side of the vase and into that corner behind the vase and across the tabletop. There we go. Little bit of baby duck. So we're going to do two things. So we did the darker color on the back here. We're going to put a highlight at the top on here. So we need to highlight the tabletop below the shaded area. I'm going to use a little bit of warm white for that. And it's just a little bit of thinned warm white, just a float of color right across the tabletop, right there. Doesn't have to be perfect, but just a nice little float across the tabletop. So now we have a separation there. And we're going to put a little darker color on the tabletop here. And I'm going to do that with a little bit of that Diox purple. Just a little. That's what we've got in that background there, so I want to deepen that a little bit. So a little float of Diox. Because that's the color that I'm painting over. I didn't want to bury it. But I did want to carry it across just a little bit. So now we have a nice little tabletop. So I put my shadow on this side, and then I go diagonally, put the shadow on the tabletop on this side, and do the same thing this way. So highlight here, highlight there. So we have a lighter value here, and that just gives you a little extra depth and implies that there's a tabletop back there. And you can do it as much as you want, as far over as you want, but we have a butterfly going here, so we don't need it. Et voila. Isn't that a cool look? I think that's such a cool look. So the next thing we're going to do is make these flowers pop out. We're going to make these flowers pop out. I see a petal that I missed right here. So I'm going to paint that in. I'll just make sure I've got all my petals in a ducks in rows, you know. Now the fun part about doing these is we're not looking for super realistic flowers. So we just need to shape them a little bit. So I need to bring in a brighter yellow. I'm going to use a little bit of that diarrhea yellow, that brilliant in-your-face yellow we used over there. And I'm going to shade around that little bit in the center and at the base of these petals like this. Just a little float. Yeah, it's going to get up on your petals. That's okay. See how we got a little bit around that center? Just like that. Like that. Again, really not perfect, which is fine. I like it that way. And then a little down here. See that flower that's tucked in behind? We've got to get a little shading in there. I'm going to put a little bit right across the top of that green base and at the base of those petals. Look at that. I love it. And we have a flower back here, so we're going to put a little of that yellow back there. Love it. And the same thing for this little one here. I love this color. That diarrhea yellow, same as saffron yellow. Those two colors, that vibrant high acid yellow just does it for me. I love the vibrancy of it. Look at that. Yum, yum, yum. Look at that. I love that acid yellow. So we've got that vibrancy in there, but now I really need to pop it a little bit. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that yellow, dirty brush, and a tiny amount of that primary or magenta. Or if you're using a Tuscan red, you can use that. And I'm going to blend the two together till I get a vibrant, watch this. I love this color. So we've got right over top of that yellow, I've created a really vibrant, I'm going to say a pumpkin orange with that primary magenta. Absolutely love this mixture. Primary magenta and diarrhea yellow make the most incredible orange. You can use a naphthol orange or you can use an orange flame. But this one, the fluid acrylics just create the most incredible orange with those two colors. So there we go. Look at that. I love that vibrancy. And I know because of that light, you're not really getting a huge amount of that color, but we will in a minute. I'm going to float up the underside of that little stroke in the center like that. So look at that. That center just pops. Hi, Cindy Braden. Oh, how wonderful. Meeting grandbabies and great-grandbabies. That's a way to spend a weekend. So, again, very loose, nothing over the top. Look at that. Vibrant. We want that punch of color, and it pulls the eye to the center of that flower. So we have another color called sap green. Karen, shading back here. So essentially we've got a light impact. So we've got light back there. I think of it as an X. Dark, dark, light, light. And depending on where your light source is coming from, that can change. So it could be dark, light, and then light, dark. I just like this method because it creates a nice juxtaposition and makes the vase stand out. So I'm going to take a little bit of sap green or plantation pine if you're using Americana. And we're going to add a shadow to our leaves. Again, nothing fancy. I'm just darkening it in a few places. Neatness doesn't count. Here we go. Here we are. That little bit of sap green creates all sorts of interesting textures on our leaves and stems. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that green gold and I'm going to mix a little bit of warm white with it. We just want to make a very light value of green, and this is our highlight color for our leaves. Doesn't have to be neat and tidy either. So I'm just putting a little bit in there. Here we go. Oh my goodness. So we have a vase. And I like the vase, but it needs something interesting. Now, I always have a stash of stencils here. I used this one, which is this mixed media brocade. And I used this portion for the inside of the vase, like so. I rather thought it was interesting. Just like that. But honestly, you could use almost anything. So I'm going to, just to show you that you can use almost anything. You could use a checkerboard, you could use polka dots, you could use a knit pattern. I'm going to use mini polka dots because I love polka dots. And I'm going to use a small stencil brush and a little bit of sand gray. I was going to say warm white, but it's sand gray. Warm white's a little too bright on a black, unless that's what you want. But I like sand gray. It's a little muted. And it works really, really well for this. And I'm not really worried about these being perfect, to be honest. I kind of want them a little distressed. So a little bit of sand gray. I like sand gray. It's like a combination between warm white and cobblestone. I love the tone of it. I think it's a really pretty tone. So I'm going to put polka dots in. I'm going to try and avoid the piece at the bottom, the edge of the little rim at the bottom of the vase. And just put polka dots on my vase. I love it. Now I've got a couple of spots here where my polka dots went into the background, so I'm just going to use the edge of my angled shader to clean that off. And I'm going to dry it. Isn't that fun? Where's the light source on this one? Well, it's mixed media, so we don't really have a set one, but it is, if you look at it, it's from this direction here. So coming from the right and towards it, down and to the right. Or down and to the left, sorry.
Howdy.
Howdy. I can never figure out with the light source. When it comes to a light source, I have a couple of tricks that I use. I have a roll of happy face stickers. So if I'm working on a large canvas, I will decide where my light source is coming from before I start painting. In the case of mixed media, I decided that my light source was going to be coming from the right-hand side. So if you look at this is the light impact point. So our light source is from here. So it's coming from the right-hand side. It's not straight on, but pretty close. So it's coming from the right. So all of the highlighted areas on these flowers is on the right-hand side. So whatever's facing towards the right is going to get the brightest value. And that hence the highlight and the light impact point on the vase is right there. The shadow at the back of the vase. Shadow, and then the shadow here at the back of the vase indicates that the light source is coming from the right-hand side. So now we have to shade our little vase, and it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to use a float of thinned soft black, or thinned black, sorry. So I want a wider float on this side so it interferes with some of those polka dots, and a narrow one on this side. It's just a float. You don't want to bury those dots completely, but you want to tone them a little. There we go. It's a black vase with gray spots. It needs cleaning. Well, glad you're home, Cindy.
I dropped a screw.
Oh?
I was working on a watch.
Oh, no.
And I dropped a screw. It's in the carpet somewhere.
Uh-oh. You need a magnet.
I'm going to get one.
There's one on
Yeah,
the...
there's one up there.
Yep. So, to highlight this vase, we're going to use a little bit of warm white. Or sand gray. You can use that too. And I'm using a very dry brush. I want this brush almost completely dry. And we're going to start with a highlight starting at the light impact point, which is right there. And we're going to follow the shape of the lamp, of the vase, like that.
Hello.
Who's saying hello?
They're all saying hello.
Oh, Linda Morgan. Hi. Yeah, they all said hello when we first started, but you were already gone. So I'm using just a dry brush. See that question mark shape? That's what I'm going to call it. It's a question mark.
Question mark shape?
Yeah, look.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Apparently I'm color deficient in one of my eyes, so.
It's white and black. You really are hooped then. So once you've got that shape, you're going to repeat that, but a little smaller each time.
I'm going to teach my dog to give me things I drop instead of running away, running off with them. Don't chase them.
Yeah, don't chase them. That's a given here. If Mace grabs something and you chase her, game on.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go after trying to take it from her, yeah, good luck.
Second you make it a game, it's now
Yeah.
fun.
Now it's fun. So we've got a nice soft highlight. I really like this one because it's the polka dots actually stand out really nicely. So now that I've got that shadow in, I'm going to take my black again and shade right across the top, above that, or right across the bottom. Sorry, good gravy. And go over that highlight a little bit at the base, right above that rim. I'm going to take my favorite little rigger or liner brush or what have you, and I'm going to stroke a little bit of that same color onto that base. So now you can see I've got that little piece going. And it needs a light impact point as well. And so does this one. So now we have the highlight on our vase. So let's put our shadow back here with a little bit of asphaltum. I'm going to thin this out. We need a shadow back here behind the vase. And it comes from about the midway point all the way across. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it indicates that the vase is casting a shadow. Like so. This is so much fun. I love doing stuff like this. There we go. Oh, thanks, Lynn. That's a nice thing to say. She says I give good tips. So I've got, I'm going to take my liner and a little bit of warm white and a little bit of green gold. I'm going to make a color like margarita. And I love doing this. How's still in one piece there, babe?
Yeah, she got attacked by medication.
Oh, stuff jumping out of the medicine cabinet again. Yep. So these are the final highlights that I like putting in. I love these little details. It cleans things up nicely. Adds some fun little lines to things.
This dog.
What is this dog doing? Hi, Mace. She's pretty chill today.
Yeah. Just wait.
Yeah, I know. It's, calm before the storm.
Just give it a minute.
Yeah. Maze woke up very mellow this morning, and all of us are waiting for the other penny to drop.
It got dark.
Yeah, it got really dark for some reason.
See if I can fix.
So I'm going to also take a little bit of sap green. And I'm going to stroke in some curlicues because I like my little tendrils. I like tendrils.
How'd that?
Oh, that's better. Wow. Can I get rid of this now? Honest to God.
You good?
Oh,
Feeling things here.
oh my stars.
Is that better?
Renee is the man. Yeah, apparently it is. She's plotting. Yeah, nobody plans a murder out loud. There we go. So much better.
They've never seen any of my watches.
No, they have not. Renee has this amazing hobby, and he's gotten really good at it. He builds watches, like timepieces watches. And he finished this one. Did you finish this one? Yesterday? Day before?
Well, it was technically yesterday, but I finished it at about 1:30 a.m.
Okay,
I got
so
sucked into it.
yeah. So this is one of Renee's watches.
There you go. Gotta see the blue.
So yeah, he does an amazing job. This is a beautiful watch. So this is Renee's newest hobby. I say newest because he tends to enjoy a hobby until he can master it. And then when he masters it, he moves on to something else. But watchmaking, he made one for his father for Christmas, a beautiful watch. So, and he made that one for himself. It weighs a ton, though. And that's the only thing. It's a heavy watch. Yeah.
It's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Does he sell them?
No, he does not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I've only made 6.
Yep. Yeah, well, they take time. So, now that we've got that in, let's talk about doing a little stenciling in the background. Now, I am a big fan of textures.
How are you doing that with one eye?
I have no idea.
It's because you only need one eye while you're working.
True, because you're using that. Yeah, he's using a loop. So this is one of my favorite things. I absolutely love putting a little bit of soft texture in things. And this does that very nicely. So we're going to use a little bit of that sand gray that we used earlier. And I'm going to just lightly, it helps if you put some paint on the brush.
Do I fix watches? Not yet.
Not yet.
I gotta put them together first.
Yeah. So I'm using a waffle stencil. You can use a check stencil. You could use almost any kind of stencil that has an open pattern. I chose this one because I really like the sort of diamond look of it. And I wanted this to be sort of muted. I didn't want this to be a really in-your-face, heavy-duty pattern, so I'm not using a lot of paint. I want a muted and soft look. I want this to be almost translucent, if you catch my drift. So, yeah. So, see what I mean by translucent? You can still see everything through it, but it's muted, it's softer. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. The only thing I'm doing is I'm ensuring that I am working it straight. So I'm splitting the squares on this side. So I don't want this to move when I'm doing it. So I'm going to tape my stencil into place for this one. And I'm working right from the corner. Again, I don't want this fully opaque. I want it kind of muted. And nor do I want it perfect. So if I have a few of those little squares that are unfinished, incomplete, that sort of fade out, that's okay too. And I want to bring it over almost to there. Yeah, that'll do. See, again, I like that muted look. I don't necessarily want this to be fully opaque. I kind of want everything to have that soft look to it.
Linda Morgan, darn, stepped away and missed the watch.
Oh, there you go.
There, it's on my wrist.
It's on his wrist. It's like, oh. So there's the muted look I was going for. I think I want to bring it up a bit more though. Just there. There we go. I kind of like that it muted my butterfly too. There. So I think what appealed to me about this waffle stencil was more the lattice look. So we've got this really soft look. It didn't interfere with anything over here, but it muted a whole bunch of things this way, and I really like that look. So imagine with our butterfly in there. I really like that look. So our next thing is to do some stamping. And for me, my word this year is joy. Finding joy. Find the joy in everything. And so that's what I chose to do for mine. You can use whatever wording or lettering you like. Where did my stamp pad go? Probably buried under this mass of stencils I've got here. So here's my stays on. And I'm going to show you another little tip. When you're working with these stamps, it can be very hard to keep things straight and level when they're loose like this, and then doing them one at a time. It can be very difficult. So what I do is this. I take a little piece of painter's tape and I tape them together.
But they gotta be a little offset.
A little offset is okay, but I mean, you don't want them zigzagging.
No, but
Yeah. And I want mine about a half an inch or so from the bottom. And I'm going to press that into place.
what is it you always say?
Yeah, neatness doesn't count.
Perfection
It's to be avoided at all costs. It's not perfect, believe you me. And then I did the same thing with the word joy. And then you can just, line it up. Now, my word did not come out as clear as I would like, but I'm going to show you something. I'm going to use a small rigger and a little bit of black paint. And I'm just going to fill in my lettering a little bit, just so that it's legible, because it's really not. And this works quite well. Maze is doing laps up and down the studio stairs. There we go.
Doing the Malinois hug thing.
Yeah, she's cuddly.
Cuddly.
So, as you can see, we got that fine joy in there. I took a little bit of paint and darkened them. Now I'm going to take my white gel pen and I'm going to put a highlight on the right side, which is the highlight side of the lettering. Just like that, with that white gel pen. It just makes the lettering pop a little bit. Like so. See, now it stands out, but it was just a tiny little thing putting that white highlight on, and it's super easy. Pastor's word is exalting joy. Oh, that's a good one.
Mine's bacon.
Bacon? Of course it is. Okay, so we're going to finish off the flowers, and this part is super simple. I'm going to use my black gel pen. And this is where we get to go around the petals and bring all of that detail back that kind of got squashed a little bit while we were painting everything. This is mixed media, so you can use whatever you want, quite literally. And I love gel pens. I love the ability to add a little extra detail using a gel pen. But I will say this, the fluid acrylics are very slick. And so you're going to have to be a little patient putting this pen on, because it has a tendency to skip. So just take your time with it and it'll work. Like so. And this inking doesn't have to be perfect either. Just take your time with it. Have a little fun with it. If it goes off the surface, that's fine. If it goes on the petal, it's fine. We're just creating a little visual texture with that black outline. And you're going to do the same thing to the stems and the leaves. Super easy. Now, of course, you can always add more detail to these if you are so inclined. I am not inclined. I like the scribbly bits. But if you want them to look more meticulous, you can add more shading, add more highlighting, do more detailing with liner brushes, etc. If that's entirely up to you. But I love using my gel pens. I just like the way it looks when it's done. And it's mixed media. And it's supposed to be fun. And how simple. What a simple way to finish these off. Now, I love the fact that a gel pen, you can use it for little details, little scribbly bits, going all the way around these petals. This can also act as a means of shading things. So if you need a little extra detail in the centers or where petals and whatnot overlap, you can do that with the gel pen. There's so many products available to artists now that you can do whatever your heart desires. None of it is wrong. That's one of the blessings of mixed media, is that you can do whatever you want. If you want to use a gel pen, go for it. You want to use a Posca pen or a stamp or a stencil to add details, then by all means, go for it. Half the fun of this is just using your imagination. And you know what? I don't have that white gel pen, but I do have a white Posca pen. Or maybe you don't have something that fine and you dig out one of your favorite liner brushes and a little bit of white paint, and that will do it. I watched a lady the other day on one of the Instagram feeds. She painted flowers using Q-tips. Loaded up Q-tips. Filled them up with paint, went to town, and they were so cute. And all she used was Q-tips and paint. And I thought, that was such a clever way to solve a problem. And yes, anytime that you're doing anything creative, it should not be stressful. It should be fun. So look at how those flowers stand out now that we've got a little bit, that ultra fine line of black around them. Super easy. Everybody has imagination, Kay. Absolutely everybody has imagination. We just use it in different ways, that's all. My mother used it in everything she did. When she was cooking, when she was crocheting. My mother did needlework, the most incredible needlework. Anytime you improvise something, you're using your imagination, your own creativity.
What if you have no imagination?
Oh, everybody has imagination. Everybody does. So look at this. I love this. Mixed media gives you permission to use things that you ordinarily wouldn't think of to use. It gives you permission to make mistakes, and it gives you permission to fix them however you see fit. That's the fun in it. So, got the details on our flowers. I'm going to grab my stamp pad again because, I love my stamp pad. And I'm going to finish my edges again and into my corners a little bit more aggressively because I like this. And I'm going to put a little more here and a little more there. I love this little stamp pad. You can do so much fun things with a stamp pad. I like that I can make those flaws a little bit bigger wherever I choose. Look at that. I love it. And if you want to spatter this, you can spatter this. Now, I made a paper butterfly for this one, but I want to show you how to paint the wooden one since I have you all here, and it does not take long. I'm going to grab my favorite black Posca pen. Ta-da! I have a real skinny one, too, that I can use. My mother could do things better accidentally than most people could do on purpose. That's awesome. So I'm going to get my big angled shader. And we're going to take some of that diarrhea yellow. And I'm going to paint the wing. Comme ça. Oopsie daisy. Just like that. Wild, yeah? So, yeah, you could put some white on the tips of the petals. You can always do that. So I'll dry that. And then I'm going to rinse out my angle. And I'm going to pick up a little of that diarrhea and a little bit of that primary magenta. Remember the dirty brush thing? And I'm going to put a float of that on the wing, just like that. I love the orange that this creates. So this is how we're tying these two elements together, these flowers and this butterfly. So I'm going to dry that.
Use clay just to pen on this, not the felt tip, but the metal. Might not get sticky.
If you use an acrylic ink, absolutely. If you're using an India ink, you might have some conflict, especially when it comes time to varnish it and even spraying it, because India ink can be reactivated. So there we go. We've got the, look at that. Isn't that pretty? So watch this. I'm using my Posca pen. Posca pens are fabulous. They are acrylic paint. Now you could do this with your regular acrylic paint. That will work just fine. But I wanted to show you how to do it with a Posca pen because, you know what, they're great. It's just another way of applying paint. That's all. So separate those wings. Paint in that body. Look at that. Ta-da! These are so much fun. And I'll go across the top. Look at that. Flutter by. So you're just going to put the details in using your Posca pen. And then color in any open areas with your black paint pen. As I said, you can do this with your acrylic paint as well. This is just a basic butterfly. I'm not... there we go. So we've got our little butterfly. And then I'm going to take my white Posca pen and add the details. So let's make sure this is really dry. So little highlight. Ooh, goodness. There we go. I didn't give it a good shake beforehand. White Posca pen to do all of those little dip dots and details on the wings.
Make it look so easy.
Well, it is easy. It's like using a giant Sharpie, which is great. Gotta love it. So just little dip dots like so. You know, up here for a highlight. Dunk, dunk, dunk. And then I'm going to dry this really well, and then I'm going to tone it so that marries to that background.
It's a little bright.
It is a little bright, so we just need to tone it a bit. Which is pretty straightforward because I'm going to take a little bit of that heavily thinned asphaltum. And I'm going to tone that yellow. It's just a light wash of asphaltum over top. Like so. And then you can put a small piece underneath. I'm missing my small piece. See that container? Would you grab me one of those little bits out of there?
No, it's not puppy treats. Calm down. You want
Just one.
just one?
Yep, that's all I need.
Not two?
Nope, just one. Two is too big. That she makes cooking look simple and easy.
She does.
So a little bit of glue on the back of the butterfly, and then attach a little piece of paper, cardboard, little piece of wood, a button, whatever you have on hand. Give that baby a treat.
She had bacon with her breakfast. So.
Yes. My husband got up this morning. He's throwing darts today. He got up this morning and made himself his usual bacon and eggs. He cooks 2 strips for himself and 2 strips for the dog. And then he left the bacon neatly packed in paper towel so that we would give it to Mace. He even wrote her name on the paper towel. So you can then glue your butterfly to the surface. I like that little space. That's essentially what this is a little spacer. It just gives the butterfly a little bit of elevation on there. So it works really nicely. Now, I also did one with a little bit of paper stock or card stock.
I don't think the Posca pens are refillable.
These ones are not. No. They do have some that are. Yeah. Just these ones are not. So if you can imagine, I'm going to actually glue this one on because I happen to love this. So put a little bit of glue on the back of my butterfly. This one is stabilized, so I've stiffened the wings a little bit. And I'm going to make sure it doesn't hide the Find Joy. There we go. So isn't that a unique addition to this piece? To have that dimensional butterfly on the front. So either if you have the wood version, the little dimensional butterfly glued on in this case, or if you choose to go with the paper butterfly like I did for this one, the dimensional effect is really, really nice, regardless of which type you decide to do. You're not limited to just doing one. If you wanted to do a smaller butterfly like this, you could place it somewhere else. But that is our piece today, the Mixed Media Mums. And I hope you find some joy in it like I did, because this was a lot of fun. I loved doing this one.
Yay! Off to the wheel.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you. Hi, baby. What you doing? No. Oh, now you're good attitude. I just really like the ability to do something a little different and just to up the ante a little bit. I thought it was a fun way to do it. Renee, change the camera.
Hi.
So,
Do you mind?
apparently not.
Why do I suddenly need kisses?
Yeah. So we have 3 giveaways today. We have it's a pattern of mine that I really, really love. It is an art piece. It's meant to be framed. And we have the pattern plus the very unique stencil that goes with it. And among a few other things as well. So there's always something extra tucked in. And so we have 3 of those to give away today. So Renee has loaded up the wheel with 178 names.
Had to throw that in there.
Yep. You can cut dowels for spacers.
You could screw it into the painting if you want to.
May sounds like a toddler. She is. She is. She doesn't sound like one. She is a toddler.
Tornado kangaroo land shark.
Yep, that's the best name ever.
Tornado kangaroo?
Tornado kangaroo land shark. That's May's. And we have 2 cats that just sort of like, whatever. The cats are not nearly as traumatized as I thought they would be. Okay. Joy's a good word. Aw, Cindy, that's a sweet thing to say. Thank you. Yeah, you always need kisses from your puppy. All right, we're ready to spin.
Are we?
We are. Well, I are. I don't know about you.
I is. Alright. Spin. First name.
Karen, is your name on the wheel? Yep, you're here.
That looks like
Carol Mays. Thank you, Susan.
No, I didn't call your name.
I know it's such a bright piece on a very gloomy day. It is very gloomy today. Yep, there it is.
It's been a while since Carol Mays won.
Yes,
Would you
Miss
stop
Carol.
hitting cameras?
Hi, baby. Oh, I got kisses now. Hi. What are you doing?
Looking for something to steal.
Yep.
She's a bit of a kleptomaniac.
A little bit. What are you doing? Hey.
Second name.
Oh. Lorianne. As always, guys, if your name is drawn, make sure you hop over to the website at tracymoreau.net. Click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the screen and send us your shipping information so we can get your goodies out to you as soon as possible.
Carol Mays.
Where's Judy Thacker? I haven't seen Judy's name today. Oh, there's Lucy. Oh, my goodness. We missed you, girl. And the last one goes to Dorothy Holgate.
That's a good name.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Dorothy.
Awesome. Okay, guys, that is it for us this weekend. I hope you have a very nice weekend, that you have nice weather, and that everything goes well. Have a great time. Next Saturday, we're going to be doing the mate to the daisies we did last week. So we're going to be doing some pansies. So join us for that one. It's a fun one. We had a great deal of fun doing that piece last week. So thanks for joining me today, you guys. Everybody have a great week. Mwah! Love you. Stay safe. Go for it. Pet your dog.
Gotta pet your dog.
Gotta pet your dog.
Unless she's being a brat.
She is. What's she doing now?
I don't know. She's got a ball.
She's going to destroy the place one of these days.
Doubtful. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Have a great
Pet your
weekend.
dog.